The GizFab channel is sponsored by this awesome collection of people and companies. Go give us some love. Spicy Micra merch now available. Head to GizFab.com, go and make a purchase. All proceeds help us go racing. Go do a buy. Do it now. So, good morning from a lovely and sunny Brands Hatch. So it's early, we're on in 10 minutes, just walking back to the garage. So we've done a fair bits to the old Micra these weeks coming up to the event. New intercooler, another engine, a rebuilt gearbox, and we finished up last night with a fresh map on the car, and she's running the best she ever has. So hopefully, pretty hopeful for a result for today. We're guaranteed a P3 if we can at least finish the final. If we can't, we're not guaranteed it, but we're going to do our best to bring you all the result today. So I'm not going to bore you to death. Let's go straight into the first session of today. So I'm pleased to report the voiceovers are back, baby. Went down a treat in the K11 vlog, so I think this is going to be a permanent feature of all the motorsport events going forward and other videos. So this is my first drive of the car since K11. Can't really drive this thing on the road, it's massively impractical, and the suspension is way too stiff. It just darts around the road surface like an absolute animal. So just going to come into Graham's here and you'll hear a bit of compressor surge. Now we shouldn't really be getting compressor surge on this setup because of the blow off valve that you can clearly hear, so that's going to become a reoccurring theme for an issue later on in the video. But yeah, I'm just getting my eye in, doing a couple of laps to see how it goes. We're still on the out lap from the start of the session, and I thought, you know what, let's put my foot in it, let's see what this baby can do. And we're just going to go up to the start finish here, and everyone starts standing on the anchors, debris all over the circuit because this Mini to the left of here didn't latch their bonnet down. So yeah, that was a bit scary, especially with Michael on the anchors there right in front of me. And as you would expect, the section was red flagged. We're all filtering here into the pit lane, but luckily it doesn't take them that long to get the circuit all cleared up. Before you know it, we're back out on the circuit. So I'm just going to do a couple of warm-up laps here, and then we're going to jump straight into the fastest lap of this session. Let's go. So keep an eye on the top right hand part of the IC7 dash. As you can see, we're down to 12 psi of oil pressure. Now I have noticed this, and I'm just going to confirm I saw that in this corner here, and unfortunately can't see it from hands in the way, but again I do see, I think, a single digit on the oil pressure. Now that's pretty concerning. But luckily I did activate the data log on the Haltech on the outlap, so
we're just going to call this session quits. Let's get laptop plugged in and check the data logs. So a bit of an uneventful first session. I just wanted to play with the car really and make sure I was happy with how it performed. It drives so much better with this new map on it. I'm actually short shifting to 5th gear now just to get used to it. So I did a couple of laps, just sort of getting the feel for the car, and I thought I would then go do a lap where I would monitor the dash and all the vitals, and that's when I noticed the oil pressure dipping to a worrying level. So I then did another slow lap just to sort of confirm what I'd seen, and yes, I saw as low as I think 12 psi around Druids. So pulled into the pits, called that session done, checked the oil, and we needed some oil. We was just above the minimum. So what we have noticed is that it is burning quite a bit of oil. Not sure what from, but there's quite a bit of oil around the top of the downpipe, just here. So I'm not quite sure if it's internal or the turbo is slowly dying. So I'm not sure what my strat is going to be. Obviously I'm going to go out for that next session and look at the vitals again for oil pressure and see how we're getting on. And if I'm happy with the oil pressure, we'll data log the session. We'll go through the data logs, make sure everything's tickety-boo, and if we're happy when it comes to the qualifying and final, we will then start to push. We are guaranteed a 3rd place today and tomorrow, but only if we finish the final. So it's a risk. Do we go out in the 3 sessions and risk melting the car again or blowing something up, or do we just wait till the final and just send it for that 1 lap like we did at Cadwell? Really don't want to be putting another engine in this in another 5 weeks. So we're just going to keep that oil level topped up between each session. So we've not got long to go for the second session, which is practice. So yeah, let's go. So first off, I have to apologise for the appalling camera angle. It's going to continue for the next couple of sessions until I realise, but the ND filter is also knocked off the camera, so everything's all overexposed out the windscreen, so I apologise. Nothing really good to look at. So anyway, practice. This is the outlap. Outlap's not very interesting, not much to talk about. So here's an attempt at a fastest lap, and something's going to come on the dashboard. You can just about see it. We get an overboost error on the dash. Now, overboost on this is anything over 20 psi, and the target pressure is 15.8 psi. So, a little bit of foreshadowing here for a theme for the rest of this video. But anyway, we're going to head straight back into the fastest lap of the session. So that's the practice done and out of the way. Got some worrying issues with oil pressure, which concern me at least, but no one else seems to be concerned. Yeah, it went really well. It's not a brag, but physically didn't do a single lap in that section flat out. It was all partial throttle, just sort of babying and short shifting everywhere. And we've already bested our PB from last year. We've done a mid 55 something, which currently puts us in P1. I'm quite confident there's a low 54 in the car. It's just a bit concerned about the oil pressure. Obviously at the minute it's extremely hot here today. I think we're already at like 26 degrees, which for the UK is hot boy. And the oil temperature and coolant temperature are as high as I've ever seen them. Again, no one seems worried that the oil temperature is 102 and the coolant's at 102. So, but I really don't want to blow it up and end the weekend prematurely. So we've got a 2-hour gap, and then we're going to go out for the third session, which is qualifying. Currently we're P1, but that doesn't really reflect until we get going in the final sessions. So let's go.
It's the third session of the day, one that actually counts, qualifying. Now, once again, big issue with the audio video here is that the audio is not in sync with the video, and I don't know why. So yeah, production value is non-existent here at GizFab. So I've already skipped through the footage. There's nothing really interesting that happens in this session, so I'm just going to skip straight into fastest lap. Let's go. So lap immediately following that 55.3 that we've just set, I decided that's enough. Seeing the oil pressure, it's just not happy. You'll see in the dash now, it's giving me a warning, and if you look closely, you'll see a 0, and then you'll see it down in single digits. Something here is seriously wrong. Never had an issue with oil since we've been using it. So is it a issue with the engine?
So I kept that session short and sweet. We did about 7 minutes total track down time, 4 or 5 laps. Got a 55.286. I thought that'll do. Brought it in. It's just way too hot out there. Oil temps, coolant temps are just through the roof within 1 lap. It's currently 29 degrees out there, and the tyres after a couple of laps just start to go off. They're too hot. So I'm going to use that same strap in the final. Low 55, come in, park it. Other than that, seems hunky dory.
I'm going to say the difference in spending time on the dyno night and day. That's why it's not fucking shit itself.
Not yet.
And it won't do. It won't do.
We're going to try and pillage some oil, give it an oil change because the oil pressure is just way too low. And maybe for other reasons. So yeah, we've got a 2-hour wait now until the final. So we're just going to chill. 2 hours for me, 2 seconds for you. Here comes the final.
So here we go, the final session of the day. The session that counts towards our final podium position. So nothing really noteworthy in this session. There's no spins, there's no opposite lock, there's no offs, there's no crashes. It's actually a full green flag 20-minute session, which is absolutely unheard of in Time Attack. But anyway, I'm just going to highlight one issue that we've got in the session, is that if you can see on the digital screen the Haltech IC7 dash poking behind the steering wheel, you'll see that periodically there is a red line which pops up on the bottom of the screen. Now this red line is an error message for overboost. The target boost pressure in this setup is 15.8 psi. I've got no idea why it's 0.8. It really winds me up. It should be a round number. But anyway, out of my control, it's 15.8. Something to do with the duty cycle of the boost controller, stuff that I don't really understand. But when we are getting this error message, I'm keeping an eye on the boost pressure, and we're seeing high 20s. We're seeing anywhere from like 25 to 28 psi boost pressure, which is nearly double our target of 15.8 psi. Now, you would expect the car to go like an absolute stabbed rat when we're getting these sort of boost pressures. I'm surprised we're not sending a rod to Mars to beat Elon Musk. But I've noticed this boost error message, and I'm keeping an eye on the air-fuel ratios, and they seem absolutely fine. Nothing to sort of indicate that we're running lean, so I'm not quite sure why the car's sort of holding back when it goes into this overboost state. But this overboost state is pretty constant and throughout the entire session. So we're just getting some data log to see, hopefully when we get back to the pits we can try and find the root cause to this overboost. But anyway, enough waffling on. Let's get on to our fastest lap of this session.
So that's the final session of the day done. Scores and doors is I've done a 55.023, and Andy has pipped me on the last couple of laps with a blistering 54.695. So fair play, because you've got to work bloody hard to get that sort of time in today. So yeah. No P1 finish, and unfortunately for you there'll also be no shoey. I did put a bet on Facebook that if I got a P1 I would do a shoey. Obviously that's still on the cards for tomorrow.
Hello, boss man.
Hello.
Got stage fright. I knew you was. As soon as I saw that face and you saw me coming, you was like, oh shit, a little Russian's coming. I need to stop talking.
I'll just put this in now as like an outtake at the end. So yeah, that's it for day one, round 3. Let's go get our trophy and our cheap prosecco. So good morning from round 4 of Brands Hatch. Unfortunately, no one got the awards presentation on film last night, so that leaves that vlog pretty incomplete. So yeah, we're here this morning again, obviously because we've not left. And yeah, we're on in 20 minutes. It's a blistering hot day. It's just gone 10. It's already 27 degrees, so I dread to think what the track temperature is like at the moment. I noticed yesterday we were suffering with a bit of understeer once again. Tyres get a bit greasy, but I just couldn't get the rear end to rotate. Then I've noticed that all the shock absorbers are on soft, so what that means is someone's come into the workshop and played with me knobs. So yeah, thanks for that. So we've put a base setting into the suspension, and we're just going to use the first 2 practice sessions just to play really. Not going to push because these 2 don't count, and yeah, we'll see how we get on. 54s today, 54s.
Subscribe to GizFab.
You probably ought to subscribe to him anyway.
And there you are, there you have it. The GizFab channel is Jimmy Broadbent approved. So make sure you go down there and smash that like button, subscribe and all that jazz. So here we are, day 2 of the weekend, round 4 of the UK Time Attack Championship. So bit of an eventful evening. We all sort of gathered around the paddock station. We watched a bit of Days of Thunder, got a Chinese in, got some bevies on the go. It was a fantastic evening. So Lucas had come to see us first thing in the morning, and they had provided us with a bottle of their oil stabiliser in an attempt to hopefully try and solve this this weird oil temperature and pressure situation we've got going on this evening. On top of that as well, Howtech this morning have also placed some overboost protection into the ECU, and what that will do is that when we exceed 20 psi it will cut power to the engine for a split second before giving us that power back. However, this makes the car a bit difficult to drive. As you'll see in our fastest lap in a second, it's just constantly going in and out of this overboost protection, and the car feels like it's doing the old kangaroo situation. So just going to skip ahead to the fastest lap of the session, and I want you to keep an eye out on the bottom of the IC7 dash for the red strip, and you'll hear it sort of coming in and out of power as this warning appears on the dash. So without further ado, we're just going to come around this corner here, and we're going to put a foot in it, and then we're going to take you a ride, which is unfortunately our fastest lap of this session. So that wasn't a bad lap, 55.38. We're about on pace where we have been for most of the weekend anyway. But that is unfortunately going to be our fastest lap of this session. I'm trying to do more and more laps, but as you can see in the dash, the overboost protection just becomes more and more prominent throughout the session. And so something somewhere is getting progressively worse as the weekend goes on. Now, going back to the oil situation, I want to thank Lucas for providing us with that bottle of oil stabiliser for free. Thank you very much, really appreciate it. Unfortunately, it just wasn't enough to sort of fix the issue really, but we are going to do something in between the sessions that will hopefully improve the oil pressure and oil temperature. So yeah, I'm just going around doing some laps, just sort of gathering some data for the ECU. So hopefully when we get back to the paddock, we can get the laptop plugged in, and hopefully we can pick through the data log and hopefully find the root cause of this overboost issue.
So that's the first session of the day over. We did a 55.3, 55.4 or something, so already on the pace where we were yesterday. I apologise if you can't hear me because of the noise. But yeah, I called the session a bit early. It just keeps going into overboost. So the car's set up to about 15 psi, and it was spiking 25, 26 psi now. You'd expect the car to go like a stab rat when it does that, but it just doesn't. When it goes into overboost, the car just nosedives pretty much, so it's pointless trying to carry on while it's doing that. So we've come in and we just can't find anything obvious. So it's three things. It's either the turbo, the wastegate, the vacuum lines, or the boost control solenoid, or it's the currently running open loop boost, stuff that I don't care to really understand that too well. And we probably should start running it in closed loop, and that's where the map sensor and the boost controller start to talk to each other. So the map sensor will see the boost pressure, and then it will automatically duty the boost controller to suit the outside boost pressure. That's how I understand it anyway. But yeah, with oil pressure still not too great. Lucas kindly gave us some oil stabilizer. We've put some of that in, and the oil pressure's no better. So we've just done the oil change. Luckily, Ilya had some Motul 300V 1060, and so we've just done a fresh oil change, a fresh oil filter, and we're about to go into our session now. So let's go see if A, we can best our time, and B, make sure we got good oil pressure, and C, I don't know what C is, but we're going out. Let's go.
So let's see what the notes say for what this session. Right, first off, we've done an oil change. Motul 10W60 300B, and I'll do a little zoom in on the oil pressure, and the oil pressure is now absolutely mint. So not sure what was going on with the old oil. Just for the benefit of the doubt, it was Miller's 1050 Nanotech, which I've been using in this car for over a year. Never had an issue with the oil, with temperatures and stuff, so might be a case of a mislabeled bottle, I don't know. But I'll be sure to get in touch with Miller's and see if we've got some sort of resolution on that. So just driving through the cement dust that was placed down after Ilya grenaded his engine in the K20 Clio, but still having issues with the car. We've fixed the oil pressure. I'm really happy with the oil pressure, but the car keeps going into an overboost state, and the car is just undrivable while it's doing this. So it's a bit pointless being out here, if I'm honest, because we're just not making any progress. So we're probably just best off by just calling this session early and just seeing if we can diagnose what's causing this boost issue. Maybe a split vacuum hose or something, I don't know, but let's get back into the pits and let's try and find out.
So second session of the day, we're just battling overboost problems, but we have found the cause. And if I come over here, it seems the shaft bearings have gone, and that is the root cause of our overboost problems. Now, frustratingly, I nearly packed the spare 2860, but I just didn't in the end. So there's not much we can do. Our options is to go out, go for a time which will give us a spot and qualify in the podium, and call it for the day. There's no point trying to go out there for that 54 because it just isn't worth it. Haltech put an overboost protection on it, but the car is just physically undrivable with the overboost protection on, so we're going to take that protection off, and that's going to allow us to go to a 55, 56 which will get us on the podium this weekend. The only downside is you know, we're meant to be running about 15 psi boost. So when we're running 28 psi boost, the cylinder pressures are obviously elevated. That's ultimately either going to cost us a rod, such as Ilias today. Obviously go check his vlog out to find out what happens to the Kevlar Clio. And so yeah, yeah, that guy. So yeah, the overboost is even send the rod through the block or send the piston. But nothing we can do about it, so we're just going to go send it for quali in about 10 minutes time. And go buy an air freshener because he needs to go build another engine now.
Now, I did put the feelers out on Facebook and the WhatsApp group, and we did have a kind soul who lived local-ish and did bring us a turbo, but ultimately I decided that it just wasn't worth the hassle of changing turbos over. Some incompatibility issues which I was worried about, which would have meant, you know, 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, so we've kept the turbo on there. We've removed the overboost protection, so it's either, you know, we're going to send it or not send it, so we're going to send it. So my strat here is to basically go out, set a 55, 56, which will give us the second place podium, and then just come in and park it. And that's exactly what we do. Let's go. So yeah, that's qualifying 55.6, which at the minute is good enough to keep us on the podium with a good second clear. But my god, it was warm at the start. The temperature started to rapidly drop off, so the sun is actually behind these clouds now, and we have had a spit of rain, and the temperature has dropped really nice. So this is probably going to be the fastest of the day. Yeah, I'm going to go out if we get a low 55. I don't think the 54 is going to be possible with the current overboost issues, but you know, if we get a 55, a low 55, we're P2. In fact, I think anything faster than a 59 is going to guarantee a second. First would be nice, but I'm not going to gear myself up for a P1. Again, just be happy to finish today with an engine still intact, so we can actually bring the car home in one piece. So yeah, we're literally so yeah, we turned the overboost cut off for that final session, but yeah, we're literally about to go out for our final. So there we go, final session of the day, the final, funnily enough. So nothing really eventful is happening in the session really. My original strat was to go out, set the 55 again, come in and park it, but my ego is probably going to get the better of me, and I'm thinking, you know what, let's go chase that 54, because that 54 could mean difference between P1 and P2. So I'm not going to bore you to death with loads of random B-roll footage of the car going around the circuit, because we have an issue
in the session, which ultimately ends the session early for us, and that happens on the one and only fastest lap we managed to set this session. So let's go. Now, how slick was that rewind transition? Took me 20 minutes to do that. Anyway, I've slowed this section of the video down. We're just coming to the end of our fastest lap of the session, and the car just seems to want to drift out wide to the left. And just about here, you can see that I'm just fighting with the steering wheel. And at the time, I was under the impression that I had dropped a wheel onto the grass, and that is what's unsettled the car. But as I then go into the braking zone for Paddock Hill, it's quite obvious that something has mechanically gone seriously wrong. And yeah, it's there's a loud knocking noise which is coming from what I can perceive to be the passenger side, but that's it. You can sort of see that I'm swaying with the steering wheel quite a bit to try and keep the car going in a straight line. So that's it, day over. All we've got to do now is hopefully get it back to the pits without causing a red flag. Lap of the session, which was 55.03 something, and literally just coming up to the start finish line to complete the lap, sort of like just before the white line over there. The car just quite aggressively pulled to the left. It almost felt as if the power steering had turned itself off, but then I noticed a really aggressive vibration. So we've had to call that section short with 55. Unfortunately, we were pipped at the last second by Mr. Gray in the 200, wherever it is in the clip there. He did at 44.8, so 2/10 was in it. So a bit annoying, but with the boost control issues that I've been having, that's all she wrote, folks. In regards to the boost control, we was having both ends of the spectrum in that session. So at some points we were only getting maybe 8 psi maximum, and at other points we were over boosted to 20 plus psi. So yeah, she's hurt, we need a new turbo. We've sort of done some basic diag on this wheel, but there's CB joint grease everywhere. No real signs of the CB joint having any play, so that's going to be interesting to look at this week. So we're going to have to get the car up on a lift this week and have a quick look. It's way too hot to even consider touching it right now. So yeah, that's it. weekend over, 2 P2s on the podium, which I'm pretty sure pretty solidly puts us in 2nd place in the championship. So yeah, let's go get our trophy and our drink. And I swear to God, if they give us rosé again, shit's gonna hit the fan. Because everyone else gets Prosecco, we were given rosé, not on. So let's go get our trophy.
Classic and retro, you may have spotted a little switcheroo over there. 3rd place in classic and retro goes to Phil Eckerly. There he is. Second place in classic and retro goes to Eden Young. Woo!
Swapped it to the big one.
And today's classic and retro winner is Andy Gray. Now for Clubman, 3rd place goes to Manny Bull.
I swear to God, Alexa, you do that again, this is going over your head.
Can confirm.
So I just want to start the outro of this vlog by saying, fuck you for swapping, give me fucking rosé again, they couldn't swap the bottle.
What's the problem?
No one.
Why do you not like rosé?
Because no one drinks it.
Okay.
Simon said it's Pride Month.
I mean,
So apparently I'm gay now because I drink rosé.
I mean, we all knew that you were.
No. So yeah, that's it. Going home. Debrief vlog during the week about fixing the car and shit. Anything you want to say? Anything you want to add?
You done good. But we need that win. We need the shoey.
Yeah, so
second place is getting boring now.
Shoey.
Second place is getting
they
boring.
need to like, share and subscribe.
Like, share and subscribe.
And don't forget to tell. You tell he watches the videos,
No,
can't
I
you?
don't.
Don't forget to
I don't. No one does.
Hey? Heartbreak.
No one gives a shit.
Heartbreak. Yeah,
Don't tell who?
Your nan.
Okay. Tell your nan.
Yeah. And then
About
you got to do your
GizFab.
hand and
Oh shh.
there you are. Vlog over.
Nice. That was cool. That was cool.